They were convinced that it was time to stop colonization. It was time to liberate the countries. And then all of them, they were working together. They were thinking on the same way. They were sure which way they should go. They had their systems of information and of supporting each other, that it was able, even if somebody would come and try to betray one group from another, he didn't find space, because the unity among the Africans was so strong that, I mean, something was in front of them. It was liberation. It was freedom. It was to have back their land. It was to have the black people, the African people, liberated from the colonization. And that was the key element: unity and solidarity. The Cubans, they also supported our struggle. Yes, it's extremely important. Not in the past only, but even today. The Cuban, they inspire us. The Cuban, they show us that it's possible to build another world. It's possible to build a world of solidarity, of unity, a world without hunger, a world with the technology, a world without health problem. In the system that they've adopted, the socialism in Cuba allowed. Cuba is one of the most countries with the most developed system of health. Cuba is really an example that we did follow, and we will continue to follow.
The aggression of the Bush regime has globalized resistance to the U.S.
The world has recognized what the U.S. wants, and the mass of all of the world are coming together to say no to the way the U.S. is conducting, the way the U.S. is behaving. When I say U.S., I'm saying Bush administration, the way they are leading their foreign policy. Everybody now hates U.S. Everybody now march. Everybody condemn, the U.S. imperialist approach on how they're doing things.
As with Southern Africa, the U.S. has also failed to achieve its military objectives in the case of the Congo and Somalia. U.S. plans to divide both countries have been defeated by determined African resistance. Mfuni Kazadi from the Congo is organizing a war crimes tribunal to try the U.S. and the multinational companies that have facilitated the Congo War.
So we are going to present the War Tribunal of Africa in a way not only to judge Rwanda, Uganda, because they were only the puppets, but also to look the multinational, the power who have enabled the Rwandese to come and invade Congo, to loot his resources, to kill about 4 million people.
Farah Malam is Somali and Kenyan. He is chair of Kenya's third largest political party, Forward People. He describes the Somali spirit to explain why the U.S. will never get the country's oil.
They're so nationalistic. They're so passionate and aggressive about their own independence. This is the other thing that Americans in the West needs to know. I mean, I don't know why the British are not advising the Americans, because the British were the former colonizers of the Italians, and they know what the Somali mind is and the Somali psyche is. You can never have the better side of them when it comes to their own country. As it is right now, they will invade the Ethiopians at night, and in the day when the American jets are taking off, they will go back to the forest where they are.
The African spirit of resistance has also been expressed in many non-military ways. The 2007 World Social Forum, WSF, was held in Nairobi and brought together 60,000 people from all over Africa and the world. These included participant groups from the continent fighting for the rights of the landless and slum residents, for environmental justice, women's rights, labor rights, reparations, food security and fair trade, and against Western oil and mining companies, the World Bank and the IMF, privatization, the debt, trade liberalization, free trade, patriarchy, AIDS, child labor, and the looting of African wealth by Western corporations. The WSF provided a significant opportunity for building Pan-African and international solidarity, which were the keys to success in the liberation of Southern Africa. An important initiative emerging from the forum that resulted from such cross-border collaboration was the African Water Network.
The African Water Network was set up by the Ghana Coalition Against Privatization of Water, the South African Coalition Against Water Privatization, the Council of Canadians, and the UK-based World Development Movement, amongst others. More than 250 activists representing organizations and social movements from over 40 African countries committed to actively support this network during a historic session at the World Social Forum. The African Water Network aims to strengthen cooperation in opposing World Bank-enforced water privatization in all its forms, and to work for public control over water as a fundamental human right.
Virginia Sitshedi from the South African Coalition Against Water Privatization explained the significance of the event by saying, "Today we celebrate the birth of this network to resist the theft of our water. Tomorrow we will celebrate access to clean water for all." She elaborates further.
The struggle against privatization or whether commercialization and commodification of public services is very legitimate, and it's something that we need to do and continue doing and gain more support from different parts of the world in order to be able to win the struggle.
Part of the water services of Johannesburg are provided by the French multinational Suez Lyonnais.
In Johannesburg specifically, Suez is involved in the water management, and so the Johannesburg Water Company, which is a local government company, becomes a subsidiary of Suez. So what they do in order to make sure that people pay for water and they are able to make their profits, they install prepaid water meters, which is the meters that says you can only have access to water only if you have money. And that is problematic for the poor, given the state of the poor in our country, as well as the unemployment rate and the sick who are dying of HIV/AIDS, which is very high in South Africa.
Water privatization means increased poverty.
It's increasing poverty, and it's also increasing violation of human rights, because if you don't have water, you don't have life, and you don't have access to, or you don't live in an healthy environment. And healthy environment is essential for human dignity as well. As we have, organizations like the Coalition Against Water Privatization, as well as the Anti-Privatization Forum, which is a coalition of different community-based organizations. We are challenging this, and sometimes we don't win, but they feel our pressure because some of their projects are supposed to be finalized and all that. So we're just disturbing and the whole process through our resistance. And the resistance is done through marches, protests, demonstrations, and some defiance campaigns of just taking off the meters but connect people to water. And hence we have a slogan that says, "Destroy the meter, enjoy free water."
Virginia Sitshedi and other African resistors who had come to the Nairobi WSF from all over the continent to build solidarity with each other spoke of their vision for Africa.
There is always this saying that Africa is poor. But we all know Africa is very rich of its minerals. So Africa is not poor, it's just made poor. So my vision is to see all the countries and the corporations that are benefiting from Africa paying back, what they've taken out from our country. That's why I support the struggle for reparations and making sure that this debt that we are made to pay over and over again is cancelled, because we've paid more than what we owe. And frankly, who do we owe? And what do we owe? Instead, these people, they owe us lives, because they've taken our lives away through slavery, through colonialization, through apartheid. And now it's this economic apartheid of, the poor getting poorer while the rich getting richer.